So welcome back to my channel. This is Dom and one of my regular painting, gaming and purchasing update videos. Let's take a look at what I've been up to. So yes, welcome back to my videos. This is the third one for this year. Been flying along through the painting, so I'll get to that in a minute. Also been having some absolutely cracking games, so thoroughly enjoying my gaming at the moment, and actually bizarrely enjoying my painting too, which is very unusual for me. So let's take a look at some of the latest painting projects. So I showed these fellas off when I had them as well, as the kits arrived. So these are for Test of Honor. These are Sohai Temple Guard, I forget now. Don't know why I chose that faction, but I just decided I would. And I bought these from Boards and Swords. Really nice models and great fun to do. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I mean, I get the mickey taken out of me repeatedly. For some time ago I said on Plastic Crack that I wouldn't do any samurai, and then proceeded to do a whole load of samurai. And now here's some more samurai, and I actually really enjoyed doing them. Spent a bit of time on them. There's a bit of fluff on that samurai there. And quite pleased with how they came out. So these are fanatics with the two-handed polearm type weapons. These guys are a unit of musket or flintlock guys, this is, I think this is called the Wandering Samurai or something like that. Now, of all the models, he was the most disappointing. His face was really not very well moulded. It's hidden under the hat, so it's not quite so much of an issue really, but really most of the features just didn't seem to have come out very well, so that was a bit of a disappointment, but the others are absolutely fine. So I think these, I haven't played Test of Honors, but looking at what some of the games I've seen online, including from Martin's Seventh Son, I think these sort of group sort of figures are very much the supporting cast to die. So I thought it was in keeping to have a couple of them in my force. So there you go, that's them. And then a couple more of the, I suppose, more character types. So you've got the mounted warrior, the standard bearer, guy with a flintlock and a rather nasty looking sword, and then the nipple guard, the three guys there, bare chested, who've got an assortment of quite vicious looking Japanese weapons. As I say, I've not played the game, so I don't really know how these are going to play out. I did read that this particular faction, they tend to get more angry the more you kill of their clan, and they're quite fanatical in defending their temple. So yeah, should be fun. I don't know when I'll get a game in, but I'd like to have a game of it because it does look really interesting. I've had the rules for quite a long time, so hopefully at some point I can presume upon Martin to show me how to play. The guy with the standard, particularly pleased how that came out. I just used a marker pen, one of those permanent Sharpie pens, and just sort of roughly followed what was on the box art, and it's quite effective actually. It's come out quite nicely, so I'm really pleased with how these guys have come out. Yeah, they'll go in the cabinet for now, but at some point may well see the Bushido game. So next up, this is the Star Fort for Epic Pike and Shot. Believe it's by Sarissa. It's wooden, it's MDF, and so what to say about this? I mean, bear in mind I'm an incompetent model maker, but I found this a bit of a fiddle to put together. The end result is actually pretty good. I quite like it, although there's a few sort of like joins here that just haven't quite worked, or here. Now, caveat here, as I say, I'm not a very good model maker, so it could be just incompetence on my part, but I just found it fiddly as hell. And these bits of the fort are very similar in construction to these bits. And once you take everything off the, or once you open up the packet, everything sort of falls out of its sprue automatically and then gets all mixed up, and it's really difficult to know which are which. And some of the components between this piece and this piece are very similar, but just different enough that if you don't get the right one, it just doesn't work. So the first of these bastions I put together, I just couldn't get this slope to work properly. And then I realised I was using components from this one. Anyway, so once I'd sort of worked that out, and basically what I did was take everything that hadn't already fallen off the sprue and put it with the stuff that had fallen off the sprue and into packs, and then just dry fitted everything to make sure that it was all right. And so the end result is pretty reasonable for what it is. I don't know how often it will be used on the table because it's pretty big. You can see for scale I put a couple of batteries and some musketeers, so you can see how it works out. I've mounted it on art card, which and then I've just basically used flock and sort of basing material with PVA all over it, and then sprayed it. I'd sprayed the walls and the enclosure area with a brown, sort of khaki dark brown spray, and then I intermingled around the edge of the outside with a lighter green, just to get that just right. And then I put a few tufts in, particularly around some of the join areas where it was to cover up some of the gaps. And I think it's come out all right. It's not going to win any models of the year, but actually I think it's quite effective as a feature on the table. I'm going to work out a game for it and play it out. But that's that model finished. Sarissa's epic pike and shot Starfort. So next up, this is a unit of Bengal light cavalry for my colonial Indian Mutiny figures. These are Empress miniatures, I believe. I think that's right. They're quite nice. I mean, the horses are enormous. I mean, good grief. I don't know that horses of this period were so big, but they are seriously heavy, especially for a light cavalry unit. They got this sort of very blue, sort of pale blue uniform, which is kind of quite nice. I quite like it. Now, I did read up a lot on it, and there were some descriptions of anything from sort of grey through to very light blue. These look a lot lighter under these lights. In real life, they're a little bit greyer, which is what I was aiming for. So, another unit done, and ready to fight out some Mutiny games, either for Many Will Be Kings or possibly Sharp Practice. So next up, these are figures I'm going to be using for my Indian Mutiny project. So the front three are actually from, I think it's North Star's range. They're actually the Men Who Will Be King characters. So you've got the Gurkha chap and the two British officers or NCOs who go off to try and become kings. Brilliant film if you ever haven't got round to watching it. Really well worth watching. And behind are a couple of Empress miniatures that I picked up a command pack of and have just painted up to put in some of the figures I'd already painted. So I had another standard bearer. Really enjoying this project. It was only supposed to be a sideshow. And suddenly seems to have got rather larger. I'm still not planning to go beyond skirmish size games, but the figures are quite fun to paint and very easy to paint. So there you go, some more done. And so talking about Indian Mutiny, these are some more figures for the British Imperial side, shall we say. So these are more Empress miniatures. They are representing the Madras Fusiliers, who had that sort of fairly interesting blue sort of soft cap type. I don't know. Don't know what you describe it. And then the white uniforms predominantly. If you had blue trousers, apparently. I put the guys in the front here are from the Indian Rifles company. Apparently, there were sort of rifle companies associated with or attached to various of the English, British, and Loyalist battalion to provide sort of long-range sniper support, a bit like the 95th Rifles. So I put a good little company of them in there. And this guy, I don't know what happened. I thought I had enough for a 24-man unit, but when I painted them up, I found I had 23. So you saw the previous officer pack. This guy has been seconded into this the Madras unit to help them out. He looks, judging by his warlike charge he's doing, he's obviously quite a warlike fellow. Probably sent him there to cause mischief with the Madras regiment rather than his own whatever company he's part of. Anyway, great fun to do, and I'm waffling. So I've had a bit of a, I don't know what's been going on this last week or so. Definitely something a bit untoward. So and it gets weirder. So apologies. You might want to have a coffee for the next couple of clips. As people know, if you've seen a few of these videos, I bought some of the Bushido figures, mainly because I saw Martin and Steve playing it at CrackCon, and I thought I would like to have a go at it at some point. It looked quite fun. It's sort of fantasy samurai game. Not really my normal bag, shall we say, but I just fancied doing it. And a bit like the Badges and Burrows, I really enjoyed painting up the pirates that I took. I think it's young pirates that I chose. No idea why, but I did. And I painted up the starter force for that. Enjoyed it immensely. Over Christmas, my daughter bought me a couple of packs more, and also I bought some in the Black Friday sale. So these are a couple more. So I think this guy is I think he's called the Envoy. So he's neutral, doesn't actually belong to the pirate clan, but you can use him with your armies apparently. So I thought it was a lot of fun. So I painted him up. The guy with the massive, this is supposed to be a cannon. I think they call it a barrel, but it's basically a cannon that fires from the shoulder. Yeah, it's fantasy. And this guy throws Molotov cocktail bombs, because why wouldn't you? Yeah, a lot of fun. You can just sort of go a bit crazy. But it doesn't really stop there. Hold on to your hats for the next couple. So this is definitely one that Imogen bought me for Christmas. I have no idea what it is. It's part of the Pirates faction. It's two guys, obviously one on the shoulders of the others with a massive harpoon, and they've got a sort of web, I guess, net on the ground. That's all I can tell you at this stage. Apart from the fact it was fiddly bugger to put together. It comes in about 5 different parts, and you can see how thin they are. Very difficult to sort of just get it positioned right, get the glue to hold, get the bends right so that they look, I was going to say natural. I mean, what's natural about their figure? But quite a lot of fun to do. Very simple, actually. Not an awful lot of painting, obviously, because I kept them just having fairly basic linen drawers and the bare flesh. And that was it, really. So, yeah, no idea whether these will ever see the table. But, you know, Imogen bought it for me, so I thought I'd paint it. And if you thought that was mad, look at this fella. I say fella? Yeah, it must be a fella. I have no idea. It's some sort of crab monster, obviously. Looks a bit like somebody said when I put a picture on the Facebook page. Is it the Scorpion King from The Rock? Dwayne Johnson. It's not. Well, I don't think it is. I mean, it has similarities. I'll give you that. Now, I had a lot of fun with this. Actually, I really enjoyed this model. Again, completely different to the sort of thing I would normally paint. And quite tricky to assemble. It comes in multi parts. I think I can't remember how many parts. Well, the claws 1, the body onto the torso onto the main body is another. The legs are 3 different sets, I think. So making sure you get them in the right position for a non-modeler like me is a bit challenging. But then for the painting, I actually mainly used washes on it. So Seventh Son's been talking about AK Interactive washes, and I picked up 4 or 5 of them from one of the retailers a while back, and I just thought I'd try them out. So, and I really like the effect. It's come out beautifully. Can't tell you which ones I use because I literally just thought, oh, I'll have a go at that one. Oh, that looks nice, and then just put another one on, and a bit of dry brushing, and then I put another one on. I do know it started from a sort of zenithal highlight undercoat, and built it up. And I just think that I quite like the way the sort of pinky effect has worked with the bluey effect you get on this chest. And yeah, I'm actually really pleased with how this came out. And I'm not sure what to do with the base. On the other ones you'll have seen, these fellas, I had some they're resin bases that I've picked up from somewhere, that I cut them off their original bases and stuck them down so they look like they're on the deck of a ship. This fella is part of the pirate clan, but I hadn't got any more of those bases, larger ones, and I wasn't going to just buy a special one, so I've just sort of done it. It looks like he's had a bit of an accident on the base, so I might have to try and rectify that somehow, because it sort of detracts a little bit from the figure. I've now told you that, and now you just be looking at that rather than the figure. Duh. Anyway, there you go. Enjoyed it. Great fun. So that's quite enough of that weirdness for now. This is back to a bit more Indian Mutiny. So this is a limber for the British artillery. Don't usually get limbers. I've sort of always had a thought that if I ever got to the end of my Napoleonic army collections, there's a laugh where you start, I would get to the end, yeah, like ever. I would actually buy some limbers and start to get the limbers for the artillery, but I've obviously never done that, and never bothered. But I thought for the Indian Mutiny I would try. So I think this one is, I think it's Wargames Foundry. I bought as part of their usual Christmas discount sale in the packs when I was already buying a shit ton of metal. I thought I'd add this one in too. Quite pleased I did, actually. It's quite nice. Yeah, when I'm bringing the artillery out, at least I can put it on the limber to start with before it gets blown apart by the mutineers. So there you go, good fun. So I've been clearing out some projects that I'm never going to get round to, including a whole load of Lord of the Rings stuff that I bought just on a whim during a sale, and I just thought, I'm never going to play it, never going to do it. So I've sold them all off. These, however, were a couple of metal figures that I think somebody came down the club one time and sold off a former member's figures that he was, sadly he'd passed away, and they were just selling them off for charity. And I picked up a number of bits and bobs that I thought would be useful when I was thinking about doing the Lord of the Rings, and these were some metal figures that were in there that were already painted. So I've just touched them up a little bit. The Urukai figure was a bit heavily painted. I probably should have stripped that, but I couldn't be bothered, frankly. The Wraith didn't need much touching up, to be honest, just a bit of chips and what have you, and gave it a gentle dry brush. In fact, it still looks very wet from the varnish I've just given it this morning. I thought it would have dried off by now, but it hasn't. And the Suraman figure, again, he was largely done, just needed some improvement in the face. He's very pale faced now, which was what I was looking for, so I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, look menacing. So these will probably go on eBay. As I say, I've got rid of most of the figures already. So there you go, good. And next up, some more 15mm German equipment. So this is, I think this was called Scout Patrol or something. It's a Battlefront 15mm Flames of War pack. You get 3 different types of SDK armoured cars. I painted one with the machine gun, one with the 20mm, and one with the, I don't know what the other one is, 37 probably. Just so I've got a variety, because I'm going to use them for O group, and you generally only need 1 or maybe 2 model at the most for that. Good fun to do, actually. They're an odd mixture. They're resin and metal, sometimes resin and metal I find a little bit challenging to stick together, but these Battlefront 15mm are so good. They go together really nicely indeed. So yeah, quite happy with the outcome, and they are ready for action, probably in my O group forces. So next up, these are American Second World War GIs. Well, I think they are. I'm not an expert on Second World War at all. So if you're a member of the Plastic Crack podcast Facebook page, you'll be aware that there's a community-run sort of painting challenge encouragement thing. Each month, members of the community decide what people should paint, and it's sort of just kind of a bit of fun. It's a sort of friendly encouragement to do some of those figures that you've been meaning to get around to do. So this year they've changed the format a little bit and decided that you should paint up basically an army over the course of a year. So they split it up that you do like a core element for January, you do for February, and command groups another month, and special units another month, and it's up to you what you do because there's no hard and fast rules. So I thought I'd get in for this, and I've been meaning to do, you've seen me show off some of the Conflict 47 stuff I bought. I've been meaning to sort of paint this up, so I thought this is a perfect excuse. Some time ago, one of our viewers, Simon, gave me a whole load of figures, some to donate, some to keep. And these Americans were all in it. In fact, there were a whole load of Americans in there already assembled. And you know how much I love assembling models, so this was a perfect opportunity just to take what he'd done and paint them up. So that's what I've done with these as part of the OPC. So this is my February entry for the OPC, which is the core unit. I have to say I found this really hard. Not the painting, that was dead easy, but just to stop myself from just doing one core unit. So anyway, there's a number of troops there, some with SMGs, some with BARs, I think they are, and rifles, of course. Dead easy to paint, as I say. I did my cheating technique, which worked absolutely perfectly. Used a khaki spray, I think it was one of those camo ranges from Halfords, as the primer, and then just painted the trousers American green, I think it is, the helmet American green, did the flesh colour, gave it I think it was an Agrax wash over the top, then just highlighted a few bits and bobs and gave it a gentle dry brush with sandy colour, I think, and Bob's Your Auntie. And that's them done. Based them up using Vallejo mud, a couple of tufts, and they're finished and ready for the table. So very enjoyable, very easy, and that's my OPC entry for February. And then because I can't stop once I get going on a project, I had to do a few more for this Conflict 47 project. These are again be part of the OPC challenge. This is a US Heavy Infantry squad. From what I remember, the game we played up at Warlords HQ on Ken's Stag Weekend, these were pretty effective fellas. Anything with heavy armour was. So I thought I'd bought some from Boards and Swords a little while ago, and I thought, right, a perfect opportunity. It's still a core element, and therefore meets the criteria. I might have actually broken the criteria with something else that I painted in advance, but I won't show that because I'll save that for nearer the time. So these are metal models, come in, heads are separate and the arms are separate, but fairly easy to stick together once you've got the old super glue working. Painting them up with a series of washes really and dry brushes. And I'm quite pleased with how they've come out. They won't win any trophies, but hopefully they'll win some battles. So there you go. And then, as I said, I couldn't leave it alone, so I had to do a Heavy Infantry bazooka team. Again, US Warlord metals for the Conflict 47 project. Yeah, exactly the same as the Heavy Infantry, really, just with the bigger bazooka on the side. Quite fun to do. A bit fiddly, these were a bit more fiddly to get the arms positioned right, particularly for the guy holding the bazooka. But a bit of swearing, a bit of super glue, and a bit of activator, and Bob's Your Auntie. There you go. So kept it simple, just because I'm a simple fellow, and then I'll remember how to paint them again next time. There you go, done. So next up, this is a French command base. I mentioned before I've been painting through some backlog of figures that have been sort of on the primed and ready to go for quite some time, and this Cavalry General was one of those. I had the other two are I think they're 3D printed from somewhere. I think I bought into somebody was selling a Kickstarter, I think, and they threw in these for free. A number of these sort of adjutants on the ground, so I just put them on the base because I thought it'd be fun. Could never have too many commanders for your armies, even if they are French. But yeah, quite happy with them. I couldn't tell you what the manufacturers are. I'm afraid. But they've come out quite nicely, so all done. And so again, a couple more officer units to finish up with. I showed these off a little while ago when I bought them. They're Perry commanders. So it's Wellington, Picton, and Uxbridge. I realised I didn't have a Wellington figure. I've got an Uxbridge, but he looks very different to this fella. And actually, I didn't think I had a Picton, but when I looked on the shelf, I did actually have a Picton. Ho hum. Never mind, it came in a kit, so I really wanted a Wellington, and I think I was buying something at the same time, so I thought added to the postage, which or kept the postage under control, which was good. So these are painted up. Quite happy with how they've come out. Still look a little. I can see a bit of varnish still drying on them. I thought they were dry, a bit like the other ones earlier. Never mind. Nice figures. I have to decide what I do with the Picton, whether I keep this one and sell the other one, or just keep both. Or you don't need two Pictons in your army, do you? If you did, then you'd win every battle. And obviously put Uxbridge on the base with Wellington. Yeah, very happy with these. So there you go, that's what I've been up to. So purchasing wise, been a lot quieter. I haven't actually bought anything significant that I can think of for the last couple of weeks. Apart from some more of the matte varnish that I use. It's a Winsor & Newton professional matte varnish. Quite expensive, but I just love the real matte effect of it, so I bought some cans of that. I also at the same time picked up some paint brushes from the same company that was supplying it, just to try out. I go through brushes like crazy. I'm very, very bad with looking after them, which is part of the problem. Also, obviously, I use them quite a lot too. Anyway, so that was that. And also, I did pick up this book. This is it's a Hellion Company book. It is the memoirs of Carl Magnus Hulton, 1807 to 1814. And it's basically, it's called A Swedish Soldier in the Napoleonic Wars. And basically, the story of this guy is his memoirs from about 70 years ago, something like that. When he it says it was first published in 1872, of this guy who joined up in the Swedish army at the age of 18 in 1808. Joined the militia, and then joined the regular regiments, and it tells of his life on campaign in Sweden, Denmark, Norway and northern Germany, which includes, I think, the Leipzig campaign. So as anybody who's watched the channel knows, I'm slightly obsessed with the Swedish Napoleonic army. I don't know why. I have no Swedish ancestry as far as I'm aware, but I'm just always been fascinated by them. I saw this book being published, and I thought, I'm going to get me that. And I've been reading my way through it. He's just joined the militia and is off to war against the Russians at the moment, if you're interested. So looking forward to working my way through this and seeing what I can find out and deduce from the various campaigns that he took part in. So that's I'm really excited about. So gaming wise, had some really good games lately. Alec, Graham, myself and Jonathan last week had a real cracking game of Hail Caesar. Alex said, "Oh, let's have a little game of Hail Caesar. I haven't done one for a while." He wanted to get his Romans and Dacians out. I thought, yeah, fantastic. Came along when we set the game up. It was enormous. And I thought, there's no way we're going to crack through this. But actually, we pretty much did. Considering we only have a few hours, bear in mind you have to set it up and then take it all down again in the time the club's open. We managed to get pretty close to a result on it. It was an objective was the Dacians had to hold a river crossing against overwhelming Roman forces, and apart from one area where the Romans got across, I pretty much had held the river, and Graham had won in the centre, was starting to swing round the flank of those Romans who were crossing the river. So I think they would have had a hard time holding on, although we'd taken some serious losses doing it. So it was a fun game anyway. So I've done a video of it. It'll be going up on the channel either just before or just after this video goes up, and I'll put the link somewhere up here, wherever it goes. Other than that, Jonathan and I and Alec actually tried out these new Osprey rules. This is with hot lead and cold steel. We just put out a whole load of, or a couple of brigades each of sort of early war American Civil War figures. 15mm, we played it in on a 6x4 table, and we had a really good time actually. Really enjoyed it. These rules are actually pretty good. I think the Osprey rules have got better and better as they move forward. There's a certain familiarity, the system. For instance, these have the same kind of break rules that a lot of the system has. Very similar anyway, it feels very similar. And once your troops break, it's quite hard to actually bring them back, which is the same in most of the Osprey books. We enjoyed it very much. I know we got things wrong. In fact, I put a video up, and again I put a link up here. The author of the rules, Arthur, actually kindly put a couple of comments on that video correcting a couple of things we didn't do quite right, or maybe we were questioning as we did it. We kept it really simple, but we did also do very large, large battalions. And it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating. So I think this week, this Friday, Jonathan and I said we're going to have another game of it, but this time try and do a scenario and try and make it a little bit manageable and play it through. So I'm looking forward to that actually, because so these were good fun. I like Black Powder, and I also like Pickett's Charge rules for ACW. So, but these are, you know, said before, sometimes down the club it's having the opportunity to play a game quickly enough, but get a result and still make it entertaining on a club night. It's, you know, once I'm in the boot room here with the table, I can set things up and just leave them up for play over several days. But the club, you only have 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever it is, to play. And so faster play rules are kind of nice because you get a result, although they can also be very frustrating because they're just too simple. I think these are okay. That sounds damning, doesn't it? Okay, I think these are pretty good. So I'm looking forward to having a second go with them. So otherwise, I think that is it for now. It's been a busy couple of weeks, lots of gaming. PCP is going from strength to strength, and we had our record numbers of live viewers the other night, which was really exciting. I think it was 183 people on live. What do you people have to do on a Monday night? Clearly not very much. But really appreciate everybody who comes on. It's just awesome. We thoroughly enjoy what we're doing, and actually really enjoying the breadth of what we're doing as well at the moment. It's sort of seems to be covering all kinds of topics around wargaming, that broad church that is wargaming. Anyway, I hope you're well, hope you're staying well, hope your games are going well. Stay safe, and I will see you again soon. This is Dom, signing out.